Right, in this video today I'm going to be finding out if I did any damage to my gearbox on this Honda Civic. Please watch previous video by the oil leaking out, and I didn't realise gearbox oil on this manual transmission, and it was running dry until it started making some funny noises. As soon as it did that, I kind of stopped within a day, which isn't quick enough, but the gears were still kind of a bit oily, but it was bone dry by the time I finished. So this gearbox takes 2.2 litres of gearbox oil. I think it's 75W something, I can't remember, but that's 3/8. That's the drain hole. So I'm going to be looking particularly for bits of metal. There's my, in there is my filter, and it hasn't been leaking. As you can see, it's kind of dry. I put the new seal in, the new O-ring, and I'll be looking at that filter as well to see if there's bits of metal in there. If there is lots of bits of metal, it just gives me a heads up that I'll need to change the gearbox one day with it, say Sunday seizes. I will add some extra gearbox oil, and I'm going to add something that is an oil additive, PTFE, and that will make it extra slippery. I may not do that because it might not agree with the seals in the gearbox, or in the gearbox main seal, so I might just add extra oil in. Alright, so here we go. By the way, if I get any, I've cleaned this. It's ultra clean because I'm going to reuse the oil, anything that comes out, because it's kind of new oil anyway, and any metal should sink to the bottom, so I won't be adding it back in. We all know the refill holes at the top of the transmission. Watch my previous video. Okay, it's quite tight. It needs to be. There is a washer at the end of this. So okay, that is the washer. The washer is present. Okay, it's going to come with it now. So I'm going to clean everything and keep it super clean. So all the oil was there, and like last time it was very empty, if you remember. I'm slowing down a lot. I think I'm going to put this back. Same washer. Tighten it. Lower this so I don't drop it. I'm going to clean another pan out, I think. And with the other pan, I'm going to put one into the other, see if there's any deposits. It'll comfortably go. So the oil is okay kind of colour. Pour it slowly, and I think I'm going to put a magnet at the bottom of this pan that I'm pouring it out of to see if there's any kind of metal shards. Here's that. I'm just going to see if there's anything that is sticking to a magnet. Nothing sticking to a magnet, so that's good news. Put all that in there. I'm going to clean this again. Now for the filter. Right, this is the one I've got to be careful with. The rubber seal The O-ring really breaks easily. And it can't, when it sits in its groove, it just kind of just nicely sits in without any pushing. So, this is where I leaked oil from before. So I've got to be careful and go work all the way around. So I damaged the seal, the old seal, by pushing it very hard on one side. I'm going to work more deep around. I might be giving it a wiggle that might help. Can rotate this. There we go. And a spring should be in there as well. And my filter is the prize, deep in there that you can see. Deep in there, see that filter? So I caught everything in the spring, cap. I'll double check that I haven't ruined the O-ring. Pushing in. So this O-ring is new. It looks okay. Now before I get the final filter out, final check and the oil check, spring in oil, metal in oil seems to last longer. The spring seems fine, and the seal, being a new seal, absolutely perfect. There's no deposit of anything in there, no metal shards, nothing. There is kind of specks of rubbish, and that's about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it out, just feel for any bits of metal. So far, brake fluid. There is tiny flecks, very small flecks of metal paint. No chunks. There's tiny flecks of metal. So this filter did its job. Tiny bits of rubbish. So it did pick up on something. So I need to let it dry now. But not enough for me to say I damaged anything in my gearbox. So I'm just going to refill it in a second. Put it all back together. This is the tray that came out the filter, and actually there is some evidence, much more evidence of bits of metal being left behind. Stuff floating on top I'm not worried about. Heavy metal stuff, and boy, I can see really quite a big chunk there. Oh, there has been somewhere. At least I filtered it out, huh? That's the whole point. It's not metal, it's more like plastic. There is definitely a metal shard in there. It seems more like paint. Not sure. Little bits of metal in here. A big chunk of crusty something. What's the flakes of paint? More like top layer paint. But anyway, this is not going back in the gearbox. That's just a fucking flake of paint. Trying to figure out what that is. No chunks, but flakes. Alright. And the black stuff is not really part of the equation problem. Don't forget, of course, to put the spring back in, the filter, the spring, and then the cap. And for the cap, I pushed it in, and I kind of kept twisting it slowly until it just sat home. Don't shove it in one. Don't just try and wind this bolt in. Keep twisting, it sits home before you put any force on it. So everything's back in place. And better show you. Don't forget to fill the oil in there. I'm going to put extra oil in as well. So that's another 3/8. And do that, funnel it in, nice clean oil, or in my case got rid of the debris kind of oil. You know what, a good engineer, what they do is, or a good anyone that solves problems, is they go to bed and they wake up in the morning and think, there's a problem and how to solve it. So I know that my Honda's gearbox has been damaged. You can see by the kind of flakes of silver paint, and who knows what else has been chipped off, which is why I got this from. Remember, I was going to put this in, but I decided not to, but now I've decided yes to put it in. There was some stuff called Molybdenum. That stuff that used to be the second, well, it is the second slippiest substance. That was more like a paste, but I think, and it's meant to stick to metal, and that stuff, I think you might put it on the gear as you're taking the gearbox apart, but because it's a splash kind of thing, it could just sit at the bottom of the old sump for the transmission and then not really do anything, if you know what I mean. So it's a paste, but this one is liquid manual gearbox, so it's PTFE, slippiest, see it is, PTFE, polytetrafluoride ethylene. So that's the slipperiest substance that we know. I'm going to put that in. I'm not going to take any oil out, I'm just going to shove it straight in. Also, I thought of a really sneaky plan. The reason I've got this mallet here, I think you can see, yeah, is because I had the magnets in my hand. These are the strongest magnets that you can get. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't remember how much I bought for them, how much I paid for them. They are the strongest. In theory, it should be able to lift this mallet, which is what, don't know how heavy this is. Don't know, maybe like nearly a kilogram, maybe, I don't know, 2 kilogram. I think it's a 2 kilogram. So I'm going to put that. Do you remember there was an oil where the cap, the draining cap, remember it was a bit shaped like this with a dent in it to put 3/8. I'm going to put this into there. Although it's thick metal, I think this would draw any proper chunks of metal that is ferrous. That means it's attracted to iron to it, and it'll keep it there, save it from splashing up and into the gearbox. Right, so those are my 2 things I'm going to do. It's in my mind now. Knowing me, I'll probably have a second-hand gearbox sitting there waiting to be installed before long. I'm going to try and resist that, so I really haven't got the room in the garage. But knowing me, I'm going to be so tempted, because they're going for about £120. Really tempting just to do that. But anyway, let's do that anyway. Let's put this in. Let's put wheel off. Getting to the. All this is much simpler now. Thinking back now, I was an idiot to let this happen, because I could have checked for oil leaks through this gap here, but I never. I just kind of let it ride that it was going to be good. Now it makes it even more ridiculously easy. I'll find out now that this you just pull back like so. I'm just going to pull that back. Right, so check if oil leaks. None at all. There's a torch in there, as you can see. Dry. That's good. So I can even see there's a drain plug just there. See when the light's shining? That's it. So that's my place where I'm going to leave it. So in the future, I'm going to leave those strong magnets there. Anything will be attracted to that spot, and when I undo it eventually, all the little bits of metal will come out, and it will stop it from jumping back in and harming the gearbox any further. So really I should logically let it run. If there's any issues like difficult changing gears or any more loud kind of humming, kind of grating noise, then I know. But you never know, it might suddenly seize on me, but I want to delay that as much as possible. But anyway, let's put those on. I'm just going to reach in and see exactly where that little drain hole is, and I think it's going to stretch over it. There it is. Easy as that. Or sideways, less likely the hood of it. You see, it's strong on it, standing end on end. It needs to be taped or anything. It's so strong still. I wonder, should I put it near the base? Near the base of the drain hole. Oh no, that's not ferrous. This is not ferrous, but the drain plug is ferrous. Is it anything that's ferrous? Have a look. See it sticking out? See it? You're not going to be able to separate them, but would it ever fall out? I don't think so. I think it's going to stay like that. I don't think of any bumps or ride bumps that will come across it. I don't think it will. But anyway, let's tape it as well. Alright, so comes in a little bottle like that. It's got like an extra spare bottle for the taking out of oil, which I just don't think is necessary unless you put really too much in it. Manual gearbox oil, Slick 50. So comes with adapters like this. There's the hole down there, conveniently. I can see the gears from here. Oh, there's no seal. Didn't like that. I'm sure I like that very much. So this pipe I'm going to keep because it's useful. I guess you would drill a hole in there and use a pipe like that, but we can't bother to do that. I'm just going to put that on there like so, and that should be enough to chip the top of that off and then squeeze it in. Incidentally, going for 2 for 1. Actually, no, I can't remember. Did I, when I first changed the gearbox over the one that everything leaked out, did I put some of this in? I think I did, you know. Maybe it's quite helpful. Well, it's been another one or 2 weeks. When I depress on the clutch, I can feel slight kind of grinding. You know, it's not. I can feel it as I depress it. And sometimes the gear change is slightly difficult, right? So I'm going to try and delay for a little while me having to change the gearbox. I don't know if it'll work. If it clears it up, then I'm just going to leave it until it gets worse. If it doesn't clear it up, of course what I'm going to have to do is to change the gearbox on this Honda. So I've already put some of this in it. This is the second lot. I don't know whether I'm going to save it for the new gearbox or the reconditioned gearbox. I'm not reconditioned, but the scrap gearbox, the next one I get. But this one, definitely I'm going to put in it. Oh, I'm just showing you the wrong thing. Okay. What I meant is this. Moly gearbox protector. It helps to protect against wear, makes gears changes smoother, helps reduce noise. So before PTFE, this was a slippery substance. Going when you open up like a, I don't know, something that with loads of moving parts, like even like something like a toy that you repeatedly pull, say for example a lever on, you'll see at the between the surfaces of the plastic there'll be something like this, and this sticks to things. See, attaches to metal surface and creates a durable, low friction protective film. So I might mix half of this in to the oil, and a half I'm just going to try and squirt it in somehow onto the gearbox itself with a little bit of gearbox fluid. So let's actually see how these magnets have been doing. See, the magnets are very powerful magnets. See if they've drawn up any more crust. And I'm not going to mess around with that filter. I'm just going to drain this, see what it looks like. I can't remember what this hole is. Oh, 3/8. Right, so detach the magnet, and it's a 3/8. Now I'm going to keep the washer. This is one of these washers that we use again and again. Same with the oil sump, actually, to be honest. Some things I will change immediately. So like rubber gators, rubber gaskets, things like that. But this I tend to use again. Right, let me lift this up a bit so it's not going to spill anywhere. So I don't really know what to expect. The magnet should have drawn any particles of any shards of metal right into that little plug, which is what I want. All the splashing around, I'm hoping, will draw them much closer to this area here. Now that I've got the car on the decline, it should drain properly. Let me get a proper. Alright, so I am going to pour this oil's got a lot dirty since the last time I refilled it. Oh no, it's okay. Against the sunlight it looks okay. It's honey colour. So I'm just going to pour this slowly and see what's at the bottom. If at the bottom is not a lot, I think we're on a winner. If there is lots of metal shards which the magnet should have collected, then we're on a loser. Oh. Okay. What do you think about that? It's carbon. No. I would say there's hardly any metal shards. I think we're on a winner. Remember to straight away put the bottom cap back on, right? So this stuff you should apply straight onto like gears or anything moving, metallic, plastic, anything really, right? But if I do that, it may be too much for the gears. So what I might try and do is see if it dilutes. I've never tried this before, but I think I've already got that other PTFE stuff in it. Let's see if it dilutes. I'm going to use the whole tube. Oh, okay. It's actually a liquid. Alright, so usually it's a paste. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour all of this, I'm going to pour half of it in there like that, Then I'm going to pour the other half straight onto the gears. That's what I'll do. I'm going to stir this in. Oh, this stuff is great. Usually it comes out as a paste, right? They've liquefied it, kindly enough. This is fantastic. Mixes well. Mixes very well. So I will actually put the whole lot in, and then I'll put this one into the main bulk of the oil. Just going to put the whole lot in. This is meant to be for 2 gearboxes. It's not a special formula. Is a really long word. I'll never be able to say it ever. Molybdenum or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, like mineral maybe. I thought it was a metal, like slippery metal. I don't know. So quite important for the problem I have, as you know. All about it. So I'm going to stir that in there. Well, this is going to coat my gears very, very well. Right, so I'm going to stir this, pour that in there, and then pour the whole lot. I'm pouring it through a filter, a funnel I mean, with a filter, and it's going to pick up any last bits of rubbish, even carbon. And this, I've just got to remember, next, if I ever have to empty this out, not to freak out because of the colour of the oil. I need a little pattern that's forming when it's pouring down there. Funny strange little patterns. It's not, I wouldn't say it's mixing super well, which is what I want. I don't want it, it's suspended, I would say. What you call suspended in the oil solution, but it's not, you know, just completely mixing 100%, which is great. I don't want it to, I want it to be its own little entity. Alright, so I'll leave, when I upload this video, I'll report back on all the little kind of crunchy feelings I get with depressing the clutch and things like that. But anyway, hit the thumbs up if you've not already done so, much appreciated.